We are still in this together.
At KUAM, we're working harder than ever to bring you the very latest coronavirus news.
We take our jobs as first informers seriously.
Asking the questions you want the answers to.
So thank you, Guam, for continuing to trust us to keep you informed.
No waiting in line to see your doctor or to pick up your medication. From tips to living a healthier lifestyle, nutrition and fitness, to the latest wellness trends, stay healthy by checking in for your weekly dose of health news on Health Check every Tuesday on KUAM News Extra. Health Check is presented by Island Cancer Center.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Next summer, the Games return. For an Olympics unlike any other.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
While we've all been through a lot over the years,
typhoons, earthquakes, and now COVID-19,
we've been able to get through these together.
For more than 80 years,
Travel's Insurance has been protecting your whole
KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Cars Plus, drive home in a brand new 2021 Hyundai Palisade equipped with Guam's only lifetime powertrain limited warranty. Call 477-7807 or visit carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Starting now on Primetime, will the island's minimum wage go up? We've got details from session floor. Plus, we bring you the latest update on COVID relief from Congressman Michael Sinikolas. That's coming right up. And tax season has officially begun. These stories and more on the way now on Primetime.
Hafa-day and good evening. I'm Tyler Matsanani. Hundreds of millions of dollars more in federal assistance for individuals, businesses, and the local government will be on the way soon. That's according to Congressman Michael Sinikolas in a press conference today from Washington. Nestor Lecanto has more.
Congressman Sinikolas says the budget reconciliation process is almost done, and he's confident in speaking out about certain provisions that he expects will pass, and there are a whole series of funding measures that will benefit Guam. He says the bill will include the much-discussed $1,400 and $2,800 EIP payments for individuals and couples and another $1,400 per child. Sinikolas says Guam will also receive another $25.6 million in rental assistance and $13.2 in homeowner mortgage assistance. He says the child tax credit will increase from $2,000 to $3,000. He says the pandemic unemployment insurance payments of up to $345 a week would continue, but the additional help known as federal pandemic unemployment compensation will increase from $300 to $400. However, there's been no change yet in the guidance for claimants with reduced work hours. Sinikolas says it has to be an administrative remedy that he hopes will be made when the new labor secretary is confirmed.
The cause for concern in attempting to legislate that would be the implications that it would have for the payment of the reduced hours workers prior to any such language actually being enacted.
He expects it will also be retroactive. The bill also contains some significant help for local government coffers. The biggest development is that beginning with tax year 2020 and going forward, GovGuam will be reimbursed 100% for earned income tax credit, an unfunded federal mandate of more than $60 million a year. The Leon Guerrero administration will also be getting another $661 million in COVID relief money.
That would, to my knowledge, that would be similar to the CARES Act funding, but with a lot less restrictions, and so they'll be able to address revenue shortfalls and similar provisions.
And finally, Congress has also set aside $25 billion in relief for the beleaguered restaurant industry. The assistance will be in the form of grants. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
The 36th Guam legislature held its very first session today. They kicked off with discussion on a bill by Senator James Moylan to postpone for a year the second 50-cent incremental increase in the minimum wage. Moylan says it needs to be delayed because of the economic downturn. His Republican colleague, Senator Joanne Brown, argued that perhaps lawmakers shouldn't have raised it in the first place.
Madam Speaker, good morning. I've spoken to business leaders. I've discussed this issue with human resource personnel. I've had conversation with business organizations. And Bill 24 is a much needed proposal at this time. Because we need to jumpstart our economy. And that starts with more island residents getting back to work.
I just hope moving forward that we're a lot more conscientious about what we're doing with regards to legislation so that we don't continue to use our people like ping pong balls back and forth. And now here we are today to change an action of a previous legislature to implement a 50-cent increase that I'm sure those in minimum wage very much would like to see. Even though I know, and I'm sure many of us here know, that all we're simply doing is increasing the overall cost to our economy rather than allowing the dynamics of our private sector to do what they know they need to do, and they have the expertise to do that.
Under the current law, the 50-cent increase will take effect on March 1st. Senators are in recess until Monday at 10 a.m. With the recent termination of an airport police officer who admitted to gambling online and on duty, Senator Joanne Brown is doubling down on efforts to crack down on corruption.
I think, we're just seeing a greater trend. I mean, a lot of our people are fed up with being fed up.
It was Senator Joanne Brown who received an anonymous call about an incident in December alleging 6 airport police officers and a supervisor were gambling during work hours and using computers and exchanging cash. She passed the information over to Airport Oversight Chair Senator Amanda Shelton, who in turn requested GIAA Executive Manager John Kanata for more information. As reported, one airport police officer has been terminated and has since filed an appeal with the Civil Service Commission. According to the documents obtained by KUAM, that airport police officer is Jericho Santos. Santos was turned on to a gambling app from a police officer. He then started his own online poker group called Jack 10 and recruited almost 250 active members, which included other airport police officers, security guards, airport firefighters, Guam police officers, Guam firefighters, Guam National Guardsmen, Superior Court marshals, and business people. Santos admitted he and his agents made an estimated $120,000 or more in cash collectively, and that he would receive $5,000 to $7,000 per week.
I think people are getting tired of seeing the lack of services and responsiveness they'd like to see from our government. And then we hear stories like this, where you have law enforcement officers that have a responsibility while they're on duty to ensure that they're performing their duties. I think we have an expectation for that. And that to find out that, they're not only they're not performing their duties, they're engaging in activities that would be considered under our current law illegal. I mean, last time I checked, last time the people of Guam voted on this issue, they didn't vote to support gambling on Guam.
Senator Brown is hoping to see a new committee formed in the Guam legislature. She says she had a meeting with Speaker Teresa Lahi and Senator Tello Taitagui a few weeks ago to create a legislative committee on corruption. The committee would accept information from the community, and a process would be established on how to evaluate that information.
Have that committee review and determine the appropriate course of action so that our people know that there is a process in place so that if they do have a complaint, they know how that process is going to be vetted and where it's going to go, and certainly have other members of the legislature that will be on this committee to help determine how to proceed and how to evaluate the information.
Senators, in the meantime, do have their authority to conduct oversight hearings over their respective government agencies and departments, but a legislative committee on corruption would ensure the people also have a seat at the table.
We do recognize separation of powers. We understand that. But at the same time, we certainly have an obligation to ensure that we review these issues. And obviously, this particular circumstance is shown very clearly that there's a need to do that. There's a need to do that in our government.
Speaker Therese Terlahi is setting an oversight hearing with the judiciary regarding the major allegations made of public corruption within law enforcement agencies, to include the Superior Court of Guam Marshals. Adriana Cotero reports.
The public corruption allegations stem from federal court cases, the first involving former Jotnya Mayor Jesse Blas's 2019 extortion case, and recently convicted federal drug offender Mark Mayo's trial. In both cases, the FBI case agent's testimony revealed that warrants were allegedly vacated by Guam marshals in exchange for bribes. In addition, accusations were made of the Guam Police Department and customs officers' involvement in Guam's drug trade. Speaker Therese Terlahi was set to meet with the Chief Justice on these matters today. However, she informs KUAM the judiciary has asked to reschedule the meeting to next week. The Speaker adds that in the meantime, they are sending the judiciary-specific written request and are tentatively scheduling an oversight hearing for the first week of March. Legislative Committee Chair on Public Safety Senator Peter Terlahi is in support of the oversight hearing, and he has sent a letter to GPD Police Chief Stephen Ignacio asking him to conduct a multi-agency internal investigation on public corruption. As stated in the letter, the senator is specifically asking GPD to investigate 1. The tampering of warrants in the court system, 2. Alleged physical abuse by a public safety officer mentioned in federal court, 3. The alleged involvement of public safety officers in the drug trade. Further in the letter, he says, quote, I realize that several of these allegations would involve investigations on a member of my immediate family. This must not prevent you from conducting the investigation. These charges should be fully investigated and fully vetted by an official investigation and for the truth to come out, unquote. The immediate family member named to have an alleged role in the corruption is Senator Peter Terlahi's son, Joey Terlahi, the former deputy director of the Department of Corrections. He resigned from the position a day after Blas's arraignment. Senator Terlahi says to prevent the taint of conflict of interest in this investigation, all oversight duties will be empowered to Vice Chair of the Public Safety Committee, Senator Frank Blas Jr. Additionally, Senator Terlahi says to the fact that within the last 5 years the port has not intercepted any drugs is, quote, unacceptable. You can read Senator Terlahi's full letter on KUAM.com. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Will the law that created the Guam Ethics Commission be amended to clarify confusion over who has the authority to appoint its executive director? If the Ethics Commission gets its way, yes. Newly appointed Executive Director Jesse Kenga and Commission Chair Shannon Murphy both agreed the law's broad language should be amended and that the ethics body should be modeled after the Independent Guam Election Commission.
And this governor, we hope to put this into law so that it's no longer debatable or up for interpretation, that in fact the commission, in an effort to remain apolitical and independent, must retain that power to hire and dismiss its executive director.
Chairperson Murphy alluded to guidance from the Civil Service Commission regarding the governor's role in appointing an executive director that was later clarified and basically reversed by the Department of Administration.
Why they made that determination. I think it was just because they're government employees, so they were thinking it had to come from the governor would have to approve, but then when we look at the election commission, they don't have that. And it's not good for us to have the governor involved because then we're less separate. It's hard for us to maintain our authority of making decisions for to do with ethics, right?
Meanwhile, the commission still does not have an office, and discussion had in its meeting today indicated it is still months away from not only having an office, but being able to accept ethics complaints from the public. Tax season has arrived, and things appear to be running smoothly at the DRT.
This morning at Revenue and Taxation, we introduced a new process here. It's just you drive. It's a drive-up service where if you have your tax forms, it's all prepared. All we do is instead of you coming out and waiting in line on the outside, it's just a drive-up service. You stay in your car. If all your documents are correct, we will stamp it as received. We will stamp your copy. And it's pretty much a very efficient operation with service, several hundred cars since early this morning.
And the reviews so far on DRT's plan to mitigate traffic on the first day of tax season so far, taxpayer Ariel Demolantis says she's happy with the speedy process.
Very good. It's efficient, and I didn't need to wait for a long time.
How long did you wait?
Oh, I didn't wait. I just drive through.
Meanwhile, all business privilege tax returns will now need to be filed electronically. Beginning March 1st, 2021, users will now need to register at guamtax.com to file their BPT returns, starting with tax filing for the month of February. Also from Rev and Tax, about $1.6 million in tax refunds were processed by agencies and will be mailed out. That equates to 525 2019 tax refund checks and includes refunds garnished to repay government debts for error-free returns filed on or before October 14, 2020. As for stimulus checks, DRT processed 5,965 EIP 2 checks totaling approximately $6.39 million. They were there to clear a safety hazard at Benevente Middle School and ended up in the hospital. Yesterday, we reported the shocking auto pedestrian accident involving 5 interagency individuals, to include the Department of Agriculture, Dedido Mayor's Office, and the Guam Department of Education, who were at the school campus on the sidewalk performing a tree inspection when suddenly a car crossed lanes and ran off the roadway and struck the 5 government employees. According to Guam Police Department spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapao, as a result of the crash, 4 individuals were transported to Guam Regional Medical City and 2 individuals to Guam Memorial Hospital. As we reported, one of the individuals was Dedido Mayor Melissa Savares. KUAM received word the village leader is in stable condition. Mayor's Council of Guam President and PD Mayor Jesse Allig.
But I know that she was injured, and I know everyone else that was transported was definitely injured as well. There was not much more information that we were given other than she was being taken care of at GRMC.
The incident occurred at around 2 p.m. yesterday. GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez was alerted to the scene. He tells KUAM there was 3 DOE employees hit in the accident. 2 were from BMS school and 1 from the central office.
Was just taking a look at the trees and the issues that were being identified at the front of the campus. Make sure that the trees don't, the branches don't fall where kids might be walking. I just wanted to make sure that, at that point, I was relieved because from what I observed and from what I heard, all the individuals who were involved who had been hit were conscious and speaking and at least.
As for the others involved in the accident, Sergeant Tapao says all patients are stable and GPD's investigation into the cause of the crash continue. Still to come, the latest with efforts to reel in island fishermen to take advantage of federal grant money. That and more on the way. Keep it here. You're watching KUAM.
While we've all been through a lot over the years,
typhoons, earthquakes, and now COVID-19,
we've been able to get through these together.
For more than 80 years.
KUAM's insurance has been protecting your homes, your businesses,
and the health of your family.
We are here today and we'll be here tomorrow.
There are better days ahead. Tomorrow's a new day filled with hope and choices.
The possibilities of what we can achieve together are limitless.
Let's continue to work together to ensure a brighter tomorrow for all of us.
Bring it. First time I saw you, you blew my mind. I got this feeling everything was alright. I've never known someone like you, but when I'm with you, everything feels brand new. You.
How do you dare? You chip away at what's been built because you can do better. How do you dare? You chase away wrongs to make room for what's right. You. How do you dare? You stand while they sit and scream when they are silent. You combine your strengths to reject their weakness. You step up, stand out, and shape a new point of view. How do you dare? This is How You Dare. Introducing the all-new Elantra.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Welcome back. Our island's fishermen have been treading water throughout the pandemic, but thanks to the Department of Agriculture, they're finally getting the federal money needed to help stay afloat. Here's more on the Fisheries Relief Fund. In 2020, the Department of Agriculture received $1 million through the Federal Fisheries Relief Fund to disperse across Guam's fisheries community. After extending the deadline for application packets and taking a more proactive approach and having staff go down to the piers to help local fishermen fill out the packets, they're finally reeling them in. DOA Director Chelsea Munya-Brett.
Some fishers had someone come in and register with them or help them complete the paperwork. And then when they saw the applications, they were a little bit intimidated by that, even though it's a really short application process, less than 5 minutes. So now we have people helping them to fill out the forms.
After receiving the funding last year, the Division of Aquatic and Wildlife Resources created Guam's first Fishers Registry database, where they found almost 900 registered fishermen on island. However, since the 2020 August deadline, they found 814 registered fishermen were eligible for federal relief.
Those who claimed commercial losses had to demonstrate greater than 35% economic or revenue loss during COVID. And we had 12 fishers who were able to do that, so they will get commercial relief. Another 12 were sort of in the gray area between commercial and sustenance fishers, meaning they sold some of their fish, they had receipts to prove that, but they don't do it on a regular basis. And those 12 will get $1,200.
The remaining 700 sustenance fishers will receive $945. Brett says that over 300 applications were received by DOA within the past 2 weeks. The deadline for packet submission has once again been extended to March. She adds that a second round of fisher relief through Westpac Council is expected to arrive on the island. More information will be forthcoming. GURL will be stepping it up this year in the war against drugs. During a board meeting today, details were discussed about upcoming projects with the Guam Behavioral and Wellness Center. Although no specifics were given, GURL Executive Director Ray Tapasnia told the board about the technical assistance they've been providing to GBHWC for the design of the drug and alcohol building adjacent to their facility in Tamuning. GURL is also in talks with the agency to convert the abandoned former cottage homes in Talafofo to a drug rehabilitation facility for men. Both projects are still in the preliminary discussions and planning stages. Local political and legal pioneer Joaquin C. Areola was presented with a legislative resolution today on the occasion of his retirement from 67 years in the practice of law. Surrounded by family, friends, admirers, and the current leaders of the three branches of government, Mr. Areola reminisced about the early days of Guam's political history and his time in the halls of the legislature, where he himself was a senator and former speaker.
There are people in here who were not present in my swearing in back in September of 1953. They were not able to be present, circumstances notwithstanding. These are my favorite people, my family. To paraphrase General Douglas MacArthur in his speech before the joint session of Congress upon his retirement, All lawyers do not die. They fade away. Thank you very much.
Mr. highly respected Areola law firm and has received many awards and recognition for his professional accomplishments and civic contributions over the years. Now that the first round of homebound vaccinations in all 19 villages have been completed, public health is extending their efforts even further by working through village mayors to set up temporary village vaccination clinics. The vaccination clinics for next week is as follows: Monday at the Inarajan Mayor's Office, Tuesday at the Manilao Senior Center, and next Friday at the Agate Gym. The clinics will operate from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Only 100 doses will be offered at each site. As for the vaccination clinics at UOG, on Saturday, it will be open from 1 to 7 p.m. The clinics will resume next Tuesday, February 16 through Saturday, February 20th. You are urged to register online. Here's a look now at the number of people who have joined the vaccination. A total of 38,296 people have been vaccinated on Guam as of Thursday. Of that number, 27,703 received their first dose, while 10,593 people have been fully vaccinated. A total of 13,004 of the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines are left. As for the latest number of COVID cases, the Joint Information Center reports that 3 people have tested positive for COVID out of 533 samples performed on Wednesday. To date, there have been a total of 7,686 officially reported cases of COVID since March 2020, with 130 deaths, 89 cases active, and 7,467 recoveries. Currently, there are 10 people hospitalized, 4 in the ICU, and 4 people on ventilators. Guam's CAR score remains 1.0. Father Gus Gumataltao, a longtime priest at St. Jude, has passed away. Father Patrick Castro confirms with KUAM Father Gus, a Capuchin, passed this morning at Naval Hospital. He was 65 years old. Gumataltao has been a longtime fixture at St. Jude's, but he spent the last couple of years at the Capuchin Friary because of his battle with diabetes. He had been receiving dialysis for the last 2 years. Castro adds Father Gus was sitting on his bed this morning and had dropped over. He was unresponsive and CPR was performed at the Friary and en route to the hospital. He was pronounced dead shortly after 7 this morning. Gumataltao was ordained in 1982. Funeral and rosary plans for Father Gus are pending. Still to come, the latest with the impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump and headlines from the CNMI. Keep it here.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your 4th meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Mas.
For the different beats of your life, we're here to keep you connected the way you want it. Plans made for you, by you. Build your own bundle with Link. Select the internet, entertainment, mobile, and home phone plans that fit your lifestyle. Pay for what you want, not for what you don't. Build your own bundle and save with Link.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Hila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me
because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
Welcome back. The Senate impeachment trial has adjourned for the day, with House managers wrapping up their arguments. The former president is accused of inciting the deadly January 6th Capitol assault, which lawmakers have relived over the past 2 days through video presentations. Mr. Trump's legal team is gearing up to present its defense on Friday. Natalie Brand reports.
Today, House impeachment managers closed their presentation as they try to directly link former President Trump's words to the actions of the mob that attacked the Capitol on January 6th.
I thought I was following my president. I thought I was following what we were called to do.
We know who lit the fuse. Donald Trump told these insurrectionists to come to the Capitol and stop the steal.
Managers also argue Mr. Trump lacked remorse in the aftermath of the violence.
He will undoubtedly cause future harm if allowed, because he still refuses to account for his previous high-grade crime against our government.
House managers once again played the former president's past statements to make a case for a pattern of provocation.
When I said, like to bang him.
January 6th was not some unexpected radical break from his normal law-abiding and peaceful disposition. This was his state of mind. This was his essential MO.
Senators across both sides of the aisle have called the House manager's presentation emotional and compelling. President Biden also weighed in for the first time.
But I watched some this morning. My guess is some minds may have been changed, but I don't know.
Some Republican senators, including Ted Cruz, argue the language of the former president doesn't come close to meeting the legal standard for incitement.
If words like fight and win and take back our country now satisfy the legal standard for incitement, then every political candidate in the country, all the way down to dog catcher, is about to be prosecuted.
Former President Trump's advisor, Jason Miller, tweeted that Mr. Trump's legal team will wrap up their presentation on Friday. They're expected to use the First Amendment as a key defense. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And with regional headlines, here's KSPN 2 News.
Hafa-Day Guam, here are the headlines for CNMI.
Today in the courtroom of Associate Judge Joseph Camacho, 49-year-old Eduardo Fabia was released to his wife as a third-party custodian. Judge Camacho kept bail at $100,000, but allowed the wife to post $1,000 for Fabia's release. According to court documents, on February 1st, at the red light in Puerto Rico, 2 drivers in a garbage truck for the company Artman was heading south to their office on Middle Road. A Honda Ridgeline with a driver and 2 passengers in the bed of the pickup truck was in the turn lane at the light waiting for the green signal. When the pickup truck made the turn toward Peace Park, the blue garbage truck smashed into the side of the Honda Ridgeline. The driver and 1 passenger of the pickup truck sustained injuries, while the other passenger died. The driver and passenger of the garbage truck had no injuries and told officers they had the green light. But surveillance cameras of the MH1 and MH2 buildings showed the Honda Ridgeline pickup truck had a green light when the blue garbage truck struck the vehicle. Documents state 3 eyewitnesses also gave statements that the driver of the garbage truck failed to stop at the red traffic signal light in Puerto Rico. Superior Court Judge Teresa Kim Tenorio issued a warrant for Fabia and set bail at $100,000 over the weekend. During the bail modification today, Judge Camacho stated Fabia may return to his job at Artman, but may not drive one of the dump trucks. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for February 17th and an arraignment on February 25th. It's the home numbering system, a project that gives every house or establishment on the island a number.
Right now we're in the village of Dandan, working our way to San Vicente. We finished Gobler, San Antonio, Telencanoa, Susupi. So we're in Dandan, and then once we finish San Vicente, we need to go back again and check those houses that we miss, people are not home, so we have to give them the numbers and all that.
Although the process is moving pretty smooth, he says there are a few obstacles.
We're running around some kind of problem also in the villages, because some properties are subdivided and it's not recorded, so we have to go back again to the drawing board and make sure that we correct those things.
Each house or establishment receives a letter with their number and street name on it.
Something like this, like a letter, you know. This is San Antonio Church. So there's a number, and San Antonio was the 3 buildings there. So the church and the social hall, the priest's house, and the sister's house at the back. So, you know, the same number is going to be A, B, C, D.
Mayor Apatang says 4 people handle the numbering system every day, with hopes to finish all the villages by the end of the year. It's a project that has been in the works for quite some time.
This has been in the book since over 23 years ago. The law was passed that the mayor should be responsible, public works and public land should get together and come up with a program, a street numbering system, that it never happened. So we finally got around to it. We're making it possible.
For more news, visit saipantv.com. For KSPN2, I'm Ashley McDowell.
Don't go anywhere. Birthdays when we return.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
We get it. Living to the fullest is tough during COVID-19. You don't need to do it alone, and everyone needs a hand right now. We are here. Feeling overwhelmed? Call 647-8833 and let's talk. Mangagihem is a project of Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
Happy birthday on this Friday, February 12th to Lala Matinonia. Happy blessed birthday to our beautiful niece from Auntie Deb and Uncle Boom. And happy belated birthday to Giovanna, who was born on February the 8th. We want to wish our beautiful baby girl's 9th birthday, coming with love from Tata Amon and Nana Elaine and the entire family.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online at KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and birth date. And congratulations to this week's winner of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Cake.
The winner this week of a yummy Cold Stone Creamery birthday cake is Kiera Lei Mesa Angoko, who was born on February the 11th. Kiera, we wish you a happy extended birthday, and we wish you good health, good fortune, and enjoy that yummy cake.
That's going to do it for us here on Primetime. Thanks for watching. Good night and stay safe.
All right, Hoffa guys, and we're back with another episode of the One Micronesia podcast. And on this episode, we're talking about an event for a great cause. And here with me today, I'm with the one and only, the Frank Crank Camacho here, as well as Brother Matt from Guam Time to talk about this amazing event. Guys, first things first, thank you so much, and welcome to the podcast.
Dude, finally, man. Dude, I thought you were not my friend, bro, because you never wanted to have me on the podcast. I'm just messing with you. Dude, thanks. Huge fan of the show, and always appreciate the love.
So talking to you guys who are really busy on both sides to doing their part and then putting something like this together. We're talking about the 24-hour run walk for Guam's homeless, and what an event that this is, and especially let's talk about what it's for. The proceeds of this will go towards a great cause. So let's talk about how this. Let's start with how the idea came about.
Yeah, dude. So, yeah, where do I start? I was, I picked up. I'm not a runner. Running is definitely a really good supplement of training for what I'm gonna do. Getting ready for fights and for competition. And one day I was running and I just felt like I had no endpoint. No, usually I would say, okay, I'm going to run from Adelup, and then I'm going to run from Adelup to wherever, and then I'm going to come back. But this one time that I was running, I just kept running and with no endpoint. And, you know, people call it a runner's high, or I don't know what you want to call it, but I just started thoughts where I was just in the zone, you know? And yeah, honestly, it really, Forrest Gump is my favorite movie of all time. And it really felt like the scene out of Forrest Gump where I just kept running, and it was just like, I just had no idea I was just running. I mean, I didn't run like a marathon or anything. I think I ran like 10 or 12 miles that day. But it was nothing that I've never run that distance before. And I was just thinking, you know, I'm a huge David Goggins fan. If you don't know who David Goggins is, he's like a super motivational freaking dude, Navy SEAL, ultra marathon runner, just out of this world, crazy human being, right? And I just thought, you know, I just wanted to do something like personally to test myself, right? Yeah, physically or more so like on the mental side of it. I was like, you know, maybe I want to go do this 24-hour freaking run walk thing and just try to clock in as much hours as I can get, or as much miles as I can get in within 24 hours, you know? And I was like, and then I ran into an interview on the link. It was of this homeless veteran that he was on the show with Chris and Sabrina. And man, he just answered a lot of misconceptions that I had with homelessness. And I started doing some research, and I was like, holy moly, this is very, very complex. You know, the misconceptions of just thinking that you know, people choose to be homeless or whatever, but it's like, really, it's so complex. And the reality of it is a lot of people are just a paycheck away, a hospital bill away, a house fire away, a death, a depression away from being homeless, you know? And that's the reality of it. And then especially when you add COVID on top of that, right? It gets even more complex, you know? And then of course you have addiction, you have drugs, there's so many factors. So complex, but it's a subject and an issue that needs we need to spread awareness about, right? And educate, because man, within 24 hours, 48 hours of just Googling, I was able to find a lot of information on our brothers and sisters that are experiencing homelessness, you know, and not by choice. So it's very complex. It's such a sensitive issue. And I was just thinking, hey man, I you know, I don't have $1 million. I don't got $1 billion to help my cellos out, you know, my fellow islanders, but I got 2 strong feet and a will, you know, to somehow spread awareness and to educate. So that's when I hit up my boy Matt, dude. I was like, hey Matt, Guam time, you know, this is what you do. You know, you're a promotional you know, you come from a promotional background, and man, this is your thing, dude. You know what I mean? And I know you're totally down to freaking to come walk with me and whatever, but you know, let's do, you know, if you're down, let's do something that we can really have a strong impact on. And you know, man, right off the bat, when I told him the idea, he was on board, and you know, I had no real expectations of how we can you know, raise funds and awareness. But man, we are you know, with the help of Matt and Guam Time, dude, we've raised so much, way more money that I expected for the Guam Homeless Coalition, who we're working with, and you know, 100% of the proceeds. But Matt could definitely, you know, get into that even more. But yeah, it's just been crazy journey, and there's no turning back.
So go ahead.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
So go ahead,
Yeah.
let's talk about the
So
collaboration.
I'm doing this with this thing right here. Yeah, so like Frank said, when he approached me, right away I was intrigued and on board with the event. One, just because of the challenge, and two, where it's going. Me personally, I want to say, I've played sports my whole life, so I had to run for rugby and other sports, but I got into long distance running about a year and a half ago. And one of my normal routes is Tizen. And I'll never forget, for those of you who run Tizen, you can do anywhere, depending on the amount of in and outs you do, 3 miles to 12 miles, 15 miles, depending on how many loops you do. I'll never forget, one day I arrived at 4:30 a.m. And this was when COVID first hit and we started doing food drives. And it blew my mind how many miles and miles and miles of cars there were lined up just to receive a small bit of canned goods. And we hear that the island's struggling, we hear that people are going through tough times, but that was my first experience seeing it firsthand. I kept running on my normal route. I did about 8 miles that day, and I did my normal route, and I was blown away how there were cars the entire way just lining up at 4 a.m. Some of them probably waited for easily 5 or 6 hours just to get a small bag of food. So that kind of intrigued Guam Time to kind of do more stuff focused on volunteer and nonprofits. So we do have a page that's focused on that. But when Frank brought this idea up, it was a perfect scenario. I felt, what better way, we could continue to promote our local nonprofits, but what better way to kind of bring awareness and to raise money. Like Frank said, with our sponsors and the online donations combined, I thought we would get a couple thousand at most. We're currently at over $8,000 in donations from sponsors and the community. I just checked it right before this interview, and if we could get to 10, that's like amazing. The last thing for me is, Frank could go and talk about a little more about the event, but the one thing I want to say is, during this week, what we really want to do is promote the event, but spread awareness. So if you continue to follow Frank's or the Guam Time social media, we're going to be filtering out a lot of different statistics that we've been given through the Guam Homeless Coalition. So, it's great we're raising money for this 1 week and this one day, but our main goal is that we really hope people understand more about what's happening to our local community, our neighbors, those living on the streets, how old they are. I think the one that kind of broke my heart the most is to see kids from birth to 5 years old, how the percentage of them that live on the streets. And it's things like that, to the ethnicity, to the main villages that are hurting, programs that we could help our homeless community. I think if we could continue to spread awareness and then raise money and raise or get donations in the process, I think that's the main goal for this event.
How do you dare? You chip away at what's been built because you can do better. How do you dare? You chase away wrongs to make room for what's right. You. How do you dare? You stand while they sit and scream when they are silent. You combine your strengths to reject their weakness. You step up, stand out, and shape a new point of view. How do you dare? This is How You Dare. Introducing the all-new Elantra.
Looking at the stats right now, and I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you guys, because I know Frank mentioned that this whole it kind of promotes fitness at the same time, but at the same time we're doing awareness. And I think for everybody who's watching, especially the FAS citizens who watch the podcast, to see that there are FAS citizens out there who are hurting as well. You know, not everybody's doing good. Some are just, you know, during COVID, they couldn't just you know, make ends meet, so they fell into the stats here, which is, it was crazy. And it's also the reason why I brought you guys on here is the inclusion of FAS citizens to the stats here. I know you guys got the stats from the Guam Homeless Coalition, but it was just crazy to see that you guys aren't only doing this for you know, the people here on Guam, but you guys are including other people from other ethnicity who are here who also fell in this category. So that's one of the reasons why I want to bring you guys up here and to talk about this amazing event that goes to support, not only, you know, it supports everybody pretty much.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, man, like the show One Micronesia, you know what I mean? Like, it's just hard to see, or it's just it really touches home when someone needs help, and you know, we can, so, and it's crazy because the you know, I said it probably earlier today, but man, we, like, a lot of people are just one paycheck away, one hospital bill away, one traumatic event away from homelessness, man, for, eviction. And then aside from that, like the homelessness being so complex, there's not affordable housing is very rare to find, you know what I mean? So it's so complex, and I just really urge people to continue on, like what Matt was saying, with not just this one day event, but to continue to educate yourselves and to continue to spread awareness. The misconceptions that all homelessness is really tied to just people that are like addicted to drugs. Like, man, that's a big misconception, like I'm sure there's a lot of people that are homeless that are just super mamala, you know what I mean, and just really need help. So and we're able to help. So I'm just really glad to that everyone is able to step in and do their part. Again, thank you to the media, to all the individual donors, and man, to the people the donating sponsors for this event. It's a lot of them, man, right off the bat, just didn't even hesitate at all and said, "Hey, we're in." And it's so cool to see, and may we continue that on.
Yeah, I think another misconception when you see these numbers, I think the other one that kind of stood out to both Frank and I were, yes, there may be people who choose to be homeless for various reasons. They're dealt a bad hand of cards, things just didn't work out, or maybe there's just a lifestyle they choose. But for most part, a lot of these people are actually suffering. They may not know the programs of how to get better. Another statistic that really caught my eye was in 1 year, from 2018 to 2019, the amount of homeless that were documented that had severe, not just slight or medium, but severe mental illness increased by 114% in 1 year. So that just shows that these people, we could help them through money and other stuff, but we need to educate them and really bring them into these programs that could, kind of bring them back into the community, and they could be a part and like get jobs and understand how they could cope with their illness. Because I think mental illness is another stigma, but at the end of the day, it's an illness. Like if it's a headache, if you have a headache, you take a Motrin or an Advil. If you're suffering from mental health, there's different medications and different programs that you could follow. So I think that's a big one we wanted to highlight. The last one for me is that the Guam Homeless Coalition told Frank and I, donating food and money is great, continue to food, money, and clothes. But I think the big one is that we didn't even think about is hygiene supplies. A lot of people, when they donate, they don't think about donating shampoo, soap, deodorant, feminine products, all these things. I mean, think about it. If you give a homeless person $5 or $10, that could really only buy them some food. It really can't cover some of those hygiene supplies. If you go to a grocery store and just get 2 or 3 of those items, you're already at $10 or more. So if you are thinking of donating, and maybe you don't feel comfortable donating money, or you've already donated clothes, something we would highly recommend is, you know, if you see these people on the street, give them a bag of hygiene supplies or drop it off to the Salvation Army. I think that's something that they could definitely use more of, especially during these times.
MTO Maintenance will now completely sanitize your home, office, or business with state-of-the-art commercial sprayers. For over 30 years, MTO Maintenance has been committed to the health and safety of our customers. And now, more than ever, a clean home, office, carpets, and furniture is a necessity to our island. Give us a call today. Stay healthy and stay safe, Guam.
Call 647-6861 for an appointment.
Especially during these times.
Or how can people go about participating in this event?
You could just head to guamtime.net. You can see the amount there. I think we're at 2.8 thousand on there, and then but plus the sponsorship money. 100% of what's contributed online goes directly towards the Guam Homeless Coalition. If you feel more comfortable writing a check, you don't want to do the whole online payment, totally understandable. You could make out a check and drop it off to the Guam Homeless Coalition or drop it off to the Salvation Army. Drop off locations for any type of goods. I know we recommended hygiene goods, but if you want to just drop off clothes or canned goods or anything, the Salvation Army admin office, which is in Teton, those would be the main ones leading up to. But again, if during the event, which Frank will go into more about the event itself, but if you see us on the side of the road, you know, whether it's just a honk or you know, take a photo, spread awareness. I think the main thing is anything you see on social media, if you could just share it on your page and just help spread awareness, because it's great we're raising money, but if we could continue to draw attention to this much needed topic, I think that's really where the success of the event is going to happen.
For sure. And to add on to that, you know, I think another great way that they can contribute to the event is to take 10-15 minutes of their time and just Google and do some research on homelessness. That really just opened my eyes to a lot of things. And share, you know what I mean? Just share the information that you find, you know, whether it's at the dinner table or whether it's with your significant other, or whether it's through a sharing via a tweet or an Instagram story post, you know. So just share and do your part and you know, educate yourselves.
That's for true. I mean, right when I saw those stats for on, you know, the Matt posted on Guam Time Instagram, I was just, you know, I was just shocked. You know, it hit me with those numbers, and you would never think that we will have those numbers here on the island.
Crazy. Yeah, like a misconception, right? Of like, oh, how can you be homeless? You could just stay with family. But you know, it's way more complex and more complicated of a situation than that is. You know, like disagreements, mental issue, you know, like mental health issues, just a lot of different factors that go into a lot of these things, you know, and really all it takes is just a few minutes of your time to dive into it, to research it and to educate yourselves.
Exactly. I mean, like they always said, there's always two sides to a story. You know, it's you can't just see somebody on the side of the road and just automatically judge or think that, oh, that's because, you know, they don't want to work and stuff like that. There has to be a reason why they're out there. You know, they were probably an application short away from a job, you know, stuff like that. So it's stuff like this that like you said in the beginning, the interview, that we need to have this awareness. People should learn more about this. And like you said, 10 minutes of your time to look it up, you know, go find out some stats.
You know, because like another thing too, like you know, when you're experiencing homelessness, like it must be difficult to find a job, and then when you do find a job, adequate transportation to your job is a whole nother thing. And then when you have, and then aside from that, like even if you have a hard time getting the job because you don't have an address that you could put on the application, you know what I mean? You don't have a phone to contact, you know, you don't have you don't have showers, you know, like it's just it's just a very tough spot for someone to endure, you know, and I feel like we're able bodies to be able to help and assist our essentially really our brothers and sisters.
All right, well, guys, times are definitely running low here. Like, thank you guys so much for what you guys are doing. You know, it started from an idea of just a run or a walk, and then now including our community in, you know, in helping them out, and it just blew up this big event that people are looking forward to. And so, what a collaboration you guys have gotten going, and what an event that's going to happen. So, thank you guys so much for that.